What's going on, boys and girls? Welcome back to another solo leveling Arise video. Alright guys, we've been waiting for 7 full days. It is now day 7 of the early access. 1 week has passed and I've told myself I did not want to make a proper tier list until I have 7 days worth of testing on the characters. So here we are. We're going to be talking about the character tier list and then we're going to do a weapon tier list. Now with the character tier list, guys, I'm only going to focus on the SSR characters. No SRs will be added to this. I will do SRs later when I have a chance to test them all on this account. And then I will be making a free-to-play account, hopefully a challenge account where I'm using mostly SR characters over the SSR characters. But with that being said, I do want to give you guys the most thorough and tested tier list out there. I'm currently using someone else's tier list right now that they have a setup for. They've got the icons there for me, so I'm like, perfect. I don't have to recreate the wheel. I can just give you guys the actual setup that I think is best. So we're going to use the same categories here: triple S, which is the best; SS, which is pretty good; S, which is good; A, which is comparably bad; and B. So remember, this is based on my own testing. This is based on my characters, and I'm going to give you guys my opinion on a couple different things. Number 1, the kit. Number 2, their role. Number 3, obviously what they bring in terms of a QTE, so support skill as well. And then lastly, how they just are as a character in general. Okay, so we're going to start off with the limited character, so Choy. Now, a lot of people don't understand how this character works, or just didn't understand in the beginning. He is easily, I would say, the top DPS in the game, but not the best fire character. Okay, and well, I'll explain to you guys why, but he's still easily the best in terms of what he does. He is a ranged DPS with burn capabilities, with airborne capabilities, with a ton of damage. And the beauty of him, believe it or not, some people may not like this, I personally love this, is the fact that he does not do any crits, which means you can focus strictly on attack and defense penetration on him, disregarding crit rate or crit damage completely, which is a whole other stat that you have to deal with. Instead of getting those options, he gets a boost in his attack as well. I actually have an A5, so I've maxed him out completely. I know you can go to A10 for more stats, but I'm not planning to do that. I'm going to save up, and he has been carrying content for hunters the entire time, whether it's a fire weak stage or a non-fire weak stage. He's been doing insane amount of damage and kicking ass and taking names. So Choy by far is easily the best, in my opinion, DPS in the game, without question. Without question, whether it's A1, A0, A5, it doesn't matter. He, as a hunter, he's just killing it right now. And the reason why I say he's not the best fire character, though, and I want to bring this up real quick, is because there's one other girl here who's an original character that is just a little bit better. Not because of her DPS. She's a tank character, but because of her kit. Her kit is insane. So I kind of want to break this down with you guys a little bit about her kit, okay, and why she's so impressive. Number 1, she is a fire element just like him, but she has break skills because she's a tank, and she has a lot of buffs to herself, as well as the option to do a lot more burns with airborne. You guys can see her flare strike, for example, has a burn. Her regular burn up has a burn, clearly. You can see here when this doesn't do burn, but it actually increases the damage's target with burn. And you actually want to use these two together. Choy and her together are amazing because the burn damage he has increased by 50% with one of his, with 100% with one of his, I think it's A3 or A4. And then this here will just help with that burn damage that he provides as well too, right? So Flame Cleave here, you guys can see again, raising burning damage. Her support here, which is Roaring Flames, does and keep this in mind, everything she does is based off of HP. So she's not only incredibly good damage dealer, but she also is crazy tanky, right? Because everything she scales off of is HP. So first off here, you guys can see another break. Again, fire damage, does airborne, and then here she applies heat absorption and heat emission. So if you do heat absorption, you can increase your defense by 7.77%. That you can recover your HP by that amount, and also you can see here it lasts for 20 seconds. Heat emission, on the other hand, is the DPS version of this. It does defense penetration by 7.77, and it uses fire damage is increased by 7.77, making her have one of the most unique kits in the game, and also one of the best tank / DPS kits in the game. It's pretty damn insane, guys. So Flame Judgment here, this is her QTE skill. I apologize, I said the other one was. This one here is when she comes in and helps out. So here you can see here when the skill hits, it burns the target as well. This is just her Her regular skill, sorry, I apologize. And then this is her special called Burning Pride, right? You guys can see here damage is 1,555, 45 seconds. Again, based off of max HP. Power gauge consumption is, of course, 100, full power gauge gone. And then deals fire damage. While heat absorption is active, the user damage decreases by 33.33%, and they are refunded 50% of the power gauge and cooldown time, which means her power gauge to do a special goes back up. If she does heat emission, the damage is increased by 77.77%. So you guys can see here, no matter what she does, she's getting massive bonuses. What an incredible character, honestly. And then you guys can see some of the extra things that you can do with A1, etc. Right? So by far, easily, guys, one of the, if not probably the best character in the game as an original character as well, which makes it even more unique. So she definitely deserves the best. Okay, now next up here, I'm going to talk about the next best character in my opinion, and that's going to be what was the name? Lim. I'm forgetting his name all of a sudden. Lim is awesome, like awesome character. Let me show you guys real quick about Lim. Now I have an A1 Lim, and he is gangbusters when it comes down to DPS, and I have his weapon as well too. So not only is he incredibly powerful at what he does, not only does he have the best range in the game, and he does in terms of actual range, he hits the furthest. His skills are actually built to destroy. So first off, everything here has break, right? You can see break heavy, break medium, everything's break, right? He's also scales off of attack, so making it a lot easier to base his damage. And he's also dark unit. Dark units are coveted in this game. I find there's a lot of dark units needed with bosses and harder stages. So that can be done. And this skill here, for example, can be done up to 2 times. So you can cast it really quickly, and he shoots like, I think 5 arrows at the same time. Or is it 2 arrows or 3 arrows, something like that. Multiple arrows either way, providing you multiple break opportunities and easy casting, as well as easy way to raise your power gauge. This here is an incredibly strong strike. It is a long power up, but look at the damage. 1,821, cooldown is 12 seconds, and it does break heavy. This is pretty much an ultimate attack done whenever it's up. It's pretty nuts. And then heavy attack Typhoon Fire here, you guys can see here, he does come in, does break damage, also applies magic boost on all allies, increasing the damage by 15% for all core damage attacks. This is Airborne Burst. This is his QTE, jumping in, providing a little bit of break, and then also just causing pretty decent damage for a QTE. And then lastly, his ultimate here, which I freaking love. So quick attack Typhoon Fire essentially goes into sniper mode, and sniper mode here, he does massive amounts of damage with 8 individual shots, doing 1,104. So you can do about like 9,000 damage in a span of a few seconds. So very powerful unit. Incredible break, has it all pretty much for a DPS. So definitely deserves the top spot in that category as well of best of the best. And that here, guys, rounds up your top units for the game right now. Okay, there's nobody better than this. Now let's talk a little bit SS pretty good. Now Byac here definitely deserves that. One of the only tank, one of the only real DPS light units from the SSR, obviously, but he's also a tank, which means everything bases off of defense. So if you build him with the proper way, he will destroy things and also just keep on kicking without much of an issue. So Byac definitely deserves that. He is also a massively good break unit, so putting him in your lineup for all light damage or non-damage doesn't really matter. He's amazing at breaking. Not to mention his kit's actually pretty good. His attacks are really quick. He has pretty decent range, and I love his QTE. So I'm not going to go into his full kit. I have him and I've been using him non-stop, but he is definitely SS pretty good there. Let's go down the list here. S good. So we're going to talk about her. Now, I always forget her name, so bear with me for a second. I think it's Seo. Yeah, Seo Jiwoo. She's really good as well, too. She's kind of like the similar setup to Byac. She could also be SS, to be honest. And what makes her so damn good is the fact that she has ability to cast shield on herself and super armor. She also has insane damage. And she can refresh her ability. You know what? Actually, let me go back. I'm going to switch this up. I'm going to put her up here. 2 tanks down. She definitely deserves it, because I know one of the things that makes her so damn unique is the abilities to refresh these constantly and just keep doing non-stop damage. If you bring her to Cerberus fight, she's one of the best units for that fight, obviously being water element, but also she's really freaking tanky. So all of her skills do break. She does really good damage. She causes airborne. She has a shield that she can do plus super armor. And not to mention, again, if you stack up the training, you can refresh all of your skills over and over and spam them nonstop as long as you have have the MP to do so. So really good unit. I think a lot of people are sleeping on her, so I'd highly recommend adding her to your lineup, especially for water damage if you plan to use her, okay? Or at least if you plan to do that water damage fight for Cerberus. All right, so there you guys go. Now let's go to the good. We're gonna put Min is good here. He's a good healer, but I think a lot of people don't realize he's also just a really good support unit, right? If you look at all of his skills, first off, he scales off of max HP, as does CO, by the way. He does have pretty decent strikes. You can see here when he's disguised, which means people can't see him. He does 50% more damage with this attack. So I mean, it's nothing really crazy. But this is where it gets kind of cool with him, right? So here he does this right here called where is it? Light Glimmer. He recovers HP for all allies by unlocking the power of light. He does pretty decent damage for like a support unit, but he does do knockdown. And when the skill is used, the user's entire team recovers HP of 0.5 seconds of the skill, right? When the user is disguised, the recovery rate is by 100%. So you definitely want him disguised before casting that. Conviction of Light here, pretty damn good because it does punishment, and punishment increased by 15% when disguised. The enemy damage is increased by 5%, so not bad for 20 seconds if you need to like burst out some more damage. Right over here, you can see his support skill. Again, punishment applied. He does recovery of max HP every second for 10 seconds to the entire team. So again, not bad. A lot of people think he's not a very good healer because it's a hot, so heal over time rather than just a straight up heal. But if you have him in and the other team is just recovering in the background, it's really useful, to be honest with you. Okay, so there you guys can see here, this is the QTE skill. It deals light damage. When the skill is used, the user's power gauge recharges by 5%. So this is increasing your ultimate. And then here's his ultimate, right? This is what I love about him. The user applies Heavenly Blessing to the entire team. When he's disguised, it applies a critical hit damage increase for the entire team as well too. So the user's damage dealt and critical hit rate increases by 12% with Heavenly Blessing. And then if you're disguised, the user crit hit damage increases equal to 40% of the amount exceeds basic critical hit damage. So you get a lot of his critical hit damage on top of your opponents. Now, this one has a little bit of a limitation. Obviously, if you have Choy on your team, it's useless for him, right? But he does still benefit from the 12% damage dealt, but the critical hit rate and the crit damage doesn't apply to Choy, but applies to everybody else. So still a really good unit. Unfortunately, just a little bit lacking, in my opinion. But when he's tagged in, he does go into disguise mode, so you can do a lot of these things at the same time. So still, I think the best healer support in the game, but unfortunately, just not like a crazy good healer or a crazy good character to choose from. Okay, now we're gonna go to the A, comparably bad. Bora Lee, she's really built to help and support dark units. So if you have the circle around you and you have a dark unit out like Lim here, if he's in that dark circle, he's doing way more damage. She's also built to be crit and crit damage, but unfortunately, just her skills are a little lackluster. Even those summons that she does, the foxes, they just don't do enough, in my opinion. So I would put her in the comparably bad. I would even also add Dong Su there as well too for wind damage. He might be okay with good. I just don't like his kit. I think he's not very like, I don't know. You know what? No, I'll put him in good. He's actually pretty good, decent. He's decent DPS. I just don't like his kit. I don't think he's a good unit to go for. And then lastly, and I might be off on this one, guys, but I'm not a fan of Wu. I've got a 2 version of him. Couple of reasons why. When he comes in with his QTE, he has the worst aim. He's aiming all over the place. Like, he's not even hitting the target. I just find this kit to be a little bit lackluster for a tank because, again, the other tanks just do so much more and do it better. His skills are slower. He has no range, of course, being a melee, and I don't think his ult is that good either. I could be wrong. I haven't really dived too deep into him. I've tested him, but I haven't been a fan of his kit completely. So there's my list, guys, for the SSRs in the game. Let me know what you guys think. This is Payne. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Take care.